Hi, I'm Jonathan. In the last video, we read chapters 1 and 2 of Isabel's Stanley Cup by Kristin Butcher. Today, we're going to read the next two, so let's get started. Chapter 3, Isabel Meets Isobel. Isobel looked forward to watching the weekly hockey games, but one Saturday, Mama had other plans. "I'll miss the boys' game," Isobel protested. "They need me to cheer them on." "There will be other games, Isobel," her mother said. "I'm sure the boys can manage without you this one time. We've already put off this shopping trip for too long, and you've been growing like a weed. If we don't get you a new coat and boots, you'll be stuck inside until spring." Isobel sighed. There was no point in arguing. Besides, her mother was right. No matter how much she tugged at the sleeves of her coat, they no longer covered her wrists, and her toes hurt from being stuffed inside her boots. Mama stroked Isobel's hair and smiled. "We'll make a day of it, just you and me. After we've done our shopping, we'll have lunch at a restaurant. Would you like that?" Isobel nodded. "And we can take our skates," her mother added. "We'll pass right by the rink outside Rideau Hall. We could go for a skate. Doesn't that sound like fun?" Isobel had to admit that it did. Mama finished lacing up her skates. She puffed her cheeks out and patted her tummy. "I ate too much," she said. "I feel like a walrus." A skating walrus. Isobel grinned at the image that popped into her head. "Come on, Mama. I'll race you across the ice." Mama was fun to skate with, not stuffy or proper like so many other ladies on the ice. She skated forwards and backwards with ease. She even joined Isobel in a game of tag. When she finally left the ice, her cheeks were rosy and her eyes were sparkling. "That was great fun," she said. "You're a good skater, Mama," Isobel told her. "Where did you learn?" Mama smiled. "I had brothers too, Isobel, and before you children were born, your father and I often came here to skate." Isobel's mouth fell open. "Papa can skate?" Mama nodded. "He hasn't in years, but he can." "Oh, look, Isobel!" She nodded towards the ice. "There's a hockey game starting." Sure enough, there was. And it was ladies playing. Isobel spotted a player dressed all in white. She stood out like a beacon among the other ladies in their dark clothing. "It's Isabel Stanley!" Isobel exclaimed. "Oh, Mama, may I watch her? Please? Just for a little while?" Mama shrugged. "I don't see why not. We have time." Isobel was over the moon. Though there were 14 young women playing hockey, she couldn't take her eyes off Isobel Stanley. She was the best player on the ice. She could skate and shoot every bit as well as any boy. She scored 2 goals while Isobel was watching. How Isobel wished she could play hockey like Isabel Stanley. Then the most wonderful thing happened. Halfway through the game, there was a rest period, and the players left the ice. Isabel Stanley came and stood right beside Isobel. She smiled, so Isobel smiled back. "Do you like hockey?" asked Isabel Stanley. Isobel tried to speak, but she was so in awe of the young woman standing beside her, the words wouldn't come out. All she could do was nod. "Do you play?" Isobel almost nodded again, but she didn't want Miss Stanley to think she didn't know how to talk. She reached deep inside herself. She had to have words somewhere. She looked down the ice. Mama waved. Then she looked back at Isabel Stanley. "Yes," she whispered, "but it's a secret." Isabel Stanley's eyebrows shot up. "A secret?" Isobel bobbed her head. "My papa doesn't approve of girls playing hockey." She clapped a hand over her mouth. What if Miss Stanley was insulted? Isabel Stanley laughed. "That's all right. A lot of people feel that way. But times are changing, and so are ideas. My father didn't want me to play hockey at first. Be patient. I'm sure your papa will change his thinking. Who do you play with? My brothers, but only when they practice. One of the teams they play against has older boys, and they are mean. They trip and hit and do other dirty tricks. I pretend I'm them so my brothers can practice avoiding them. Well, said Isobel Stanley. Her eyebrows knotted together in thought. Can I make a suggestion? Yes, please. It's hard to hit a moving target. The trick is to skate fast and not stop. If the other players can't catch your brothers, they can't hit them. She glanced towards the ice. The players were returning. The game is starting again. She smiled and waved. I have to go. Good luck. As Isobel Stanley skated away, Isobel thought about what she had said. Skate faster. Sounded simple enough, but would it work? Chapter 4. The Challenge. It says here in the newspaper that the award Lord Stanley is donating to the Amateur Hockey Association of Canada's champions is due to arrive this spring, Papa said at dinner that night. The challenge is open to all amateur hockey teams. Does that mean our Ossington Avenue team can try for it, Papa? Billy asked. John and Freddie hooted. Not much chance of that, John said. Billy went red in the face. Alexander frowned at the twins and then turned to his youngest brother. We probably could challenge for it, Billy, but there wouldn't be any point. The other teams would be men. We wouldn't stand a chance. Papa continued. This article says his children inspired him to donate the cup. They all like hockey and played it here in Canada. I bet anything it was Isobel Stanley who convinced her father to donate the cup, Isobel said. She loves hockey as much as her brothers, and she plays just as well, too. Like you would know anything about it, Freddie scoffed. Isobel stuck out her chin. It just so happens that I do. I've seen her play. All her brothers, except Alexander, burst into laughter. You're a liar, Billy sneered. I am not, am I, Mama? No, Isobel, you're not. And there will be no name-calling in any case. Is that understood, Billy? Yes, Mama, Billy said, but no buts, Mama cut him off sternly. Then she dabbed her mouth with a napkin. While Isobel and I were out today, we stopped at Rideau Hall for a skate. We saw Miss Stanley playing hockey, and Isobel is correct. She is very good. Papa's spectacles almost fell off his nose as he gawked at his wife. You went skating, Margaret? Yes, Edward, I did. Is there something wrong with that? For a moment, Papa just stared at Mama. Everyone else stared at Papa, wondering what he was going to say. Mama was the only one who continued eating her dinner. Finally, Papa shook his head and mumbled, No, of course not, and went back to his newspaper. Billy sighed. I wish we could compete for it, he said. Perhaps you can one day, Mama smiled. If you love the game enough, I'm sure you will. Well, I certainly will, Isobel announced. Papa lowered a corner of his newspaper and frowned. Times are changing, Papa, she said. I know it doesn't seem proper now for girls to play hockey, but it soon will. You'll see. Indeed, Papa said. We shall see. That's the end of the chapter. Join me tomorrow for more.